What's going on, everybody? This is Marcus of Casually Hardcore and the guild leader of Gods Among Legends Alliance US Kel'Thuzad. I'm here to give a quick video on warrior tanking and helpful add-ons for tanking and also just for everyday life. Um, One of the great things about warrior tanks in patch 5.4 is riposte, and I'll just go ahead and go to that talent real quick. Riposte, or whatever they want to call it. It's a passive ability. Let's see if I can find it around here. Oh, where is it? It's right here. When you dodge or parry an attack, you gain 75% of your parry and dodge as an additional critical strike for 20 seconds. This is huge for generating threat, especially AoE threat, which warriors have historically lacked. Now, this is in contrast to the mastery build that was prevalent. If you look at all my gear, I've basically kept some parry stam gems, but I've completely reforged into dodge if I could. You're looking at right here. I had to keep some expertise, but I'm using parry dodge gems, using some parry gems. Keeping expertise where I needed it. I don't have a lot of expertise on my gear, so I've had to kind of gem for it when necessary. And I'm noticing, if you look at now, I'm at 14.97% dodge and 33.55% parry, which basically means that definitely over 55% of the time I'm going to be dodging or parrying an attack. Now, if you look at some of my kill videos, for instance, our Dark Shaman Flex kill video, you never see me below too much health for very long. I'm just not getting hit. And secondly, if you look at the two-piece tier warrior bonus, you heal for 30% of all damage blocked with a shield and 30% of all damage absorbed by shield barrier. Coupled with my 18% block chance and rage generated from all the damage you're doing, and using shield barrier, warriors are very, very self-sufficient tanks. There's very little that healers really need to do for you because you're avoiding a lot of damage, you're giving out a lot of damage, and you're healing yourself. Now this is the DPS meters from our Nazgrim fight. But if you notice, I'm pretty high up there on DPS. Shield Slam's doing a lot of good damage. Just looking at some of the meters here, Revenge is doing insane damage. Just insane damage. You're going to notice that Revenge is going to pop up mercilessly, and you're just basically going to be spamming it, especially when you have fights with a lot of ads, or especially like in the Garrosh fight, if you're tanking Garrosh and the ads are kind of near you, that the other tank are tanking, you can just slap on Revenge and just start owning. Now, some simple UI tips that I kind of use is I like using the X Pearl because it looks cool and it brings up really cool raid frames over here. But I also like using Ice HUD because I can keep my eyes around this area, focus on myself, my health, my rage, and my abilities, because usually everything's going to be kind of right in front of you. So I tend to use Ice HUD. Of course, I have Bartender. All my keys are hotkeyed to my Razor Nostromo and my Razor Naga. My Nostromo controls basically everything you see here. Just boom, right on my Nostromo. I'm spec Shockwave, but I will switch to Dragon War based on certain fights. But my basic, I like using Juggernaut. 12 seconds is pretty good. On certain fights, I will switch to Double Time if I need to run around and grab ads. This is very good for the Garrosh fight if you're taking the ads. I like using Second Wind based on things like, the Garrosh fight or the Siegecrafter fight where you're going to get dropped pretty quickly. I don't like using Impending Victory because it's another button I have to press. Second Wind is passive. Impending Victory works pretty well if you're not geared yet, but I'm not taking so much damage, so 20% of my maximum health would only be good if, I didn't have good avoidance. Disrupting Shout is a must. These other two talents are pretty much worthless in this tier of rating. Disrupting Shout, especially when you have to control those ads that are in things like the Nazgrim fight, you need it. It's an AoE interrupt. Once again, Shockwave works pretty well. Blade Storm, I don't like using it only because you'll do so much damage and you can't really pop any defensive cooldowns during those 6 seconds. Shockwave works really well when you need to stun ads. It's also a shorter cooldown than Dragon War, but doesn't do as much damage. Dragon War is really good for a fight like Iron Juggernaut. So as you can see, I have 17 Tomes of the Clear Mind, so I tend to keep it very well. stacked up so I can switch. I've noticed that Vigilance has worked great, and especially in Wings 3 and 4 of Siege of Orgrimmar when you're doing some tank swaps and your tank's taking some heavy damage. I'll just cast it on my partner tank. Like once he takes over, like let's say the Shaw Pride fight or Iron Juggernaut or even Garrosh, I'll just throw Vigilance on him. It does an excellent job of keeping your other tank alive. I've been messing around with Bloodbath a lot, mostly because Bloodbath does a really good job of slowing certain ads down in things like the Nazgrim fight or a Mercius fight when you need those ads to slow down. But I think I might go with Stormbolt. I'm probably going to go to Stormbolt for those last fights just to get that extra DPS. And it also does a pretty good job of stunning, and it also has a shorter cooldown. Stormbolt's kind of default Fury build, but it does a pretty good job. As you can see, my gear isn't 100% great. I'm 545 equipped. I need to up my trinkets, and I need some more Valor to upgrade, a couple of pieces I got. But when it comes to the Warrior, I would not gun for the 4-piece set bonus if you don't have to. I actually had the hands, but I actually ended up getting some more forged hands and was able to drop them because I only had 3 pieces. I have a 2-piece set bonus. That's good enough. Gaining rage will not be a problem, so as you can see, the 4-piece set bonus for Warriors isn't as great as the 2-piece. So get that 2-piece, and you can get it from the Celestials like I did. I got this piece from the Celestials and this piece from Flexible. So, yep, parry and dodge your key. Spam that revenge. It's almost easy. So keep those things up, and you'll be one hell of a Warrior tank. I also like to use a little bit of Omen threat meter just to see if I'm pulling too much threat off a tank that isn't doing as much damage as you. But if you are a Warrior tank, be very mindful. If you're with a tank that isn't as geared as you, that is not a Warrior, you will pull threat off of the boss if you go through your normal rotation. So you might have to slow down a little bit. Don't use Revenge as much. Don't use Shield Slam as much when you're not tanking the boss in between tank swaps. Use your demo banners as one of your raid-wide cooldowns for things like Thok when he does Deafening Roar. That'll be key. Also pop Demoralizing Shout on cooldown because it's going to give you, if you're glyphed for Glyph of Insight like I am, you're going to get 3 Heroic Strikes or 3 Cleaves free. This is incredible during ad fights. Plus it also reduces your damage taken. So pop demo shout on cooldown no matter what boss you're on, because you'll either get free Heroic Strikes or free Cleaves, and any free Heroic Strike you can get is good. That's it. Any questions, leave in the comments below.